In today's fashion industry, great designs aren't enough. Your brand needs to be seen, remembered, and trusted. And that's where Luxora Digital Marketing comes in. Hey there, collective. Welcome back to Foundations of Fashion Digital Marketing with Luxora Digital. Hey everybody, welcome to the first lesson. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. YouTube was not going to get me down because honestly, they did not let me go live. So I'm so sorry for those of you who tuned in or tried to tune in on our channel. It should be fixed around Thursday. So for our next lesson, I'm going to try again. But if they do not let us, then we'll just record in this mode. The videos will be posted online on our channel, Luxora Digital. That's at the Luxora Digital. You can see it there. You can also tune into TikTok. We'll have smaller snippets of this video there too. But let's put that all aside. Let's just get started. I'm so excited. If you all remember, I said the last episode that we were going to be going over a few key points. One of those key points is authenticity in your brand. Okay. Super, super important. I want to start off this class by asking a question. And if you flip open your toolkit, that's the digital fashion toolkit, or AKA your workbook for this course, I just want you to flip it open, start to look at some of the templates and the build outs that are in that toolkit, because I want you to answer this question for me. How are you making sure that your brand stands out online? Okay. Is that just by social media? Are you putting out blog posts? Are you doing photo shoots? Are you doing behind the scenes footage? How can I, as an outsider, unaware of your brand, find out about your brand? And how will I then establish that it stands out from the rest? I'm going to give you a couple seconds to write that down. Think about how your brand stands out. All right. Even if you don't know right now, as we progress through the course and as we progress through this class, you can start to think about some of those things, right? There are different ways for a brand to stand out because fashion is not just one lane. There's different niches in fashion. You may be a streetwear brand. You may be a luxe brand, a luxury brand. I don't know what your brand is. You even may be an accessories brand, right? Which is a completely different niche, but it is so specific to detail, right? So you want to make sure you know what your niche is, right? What type of brand do you have? And what lane do you see it going at? We're going to talk a little bit in the next lesson about competitive analysis. And I'm going to show you, actually, if you flip into your workbook, you can see a page for SWOT analysis. And that's where we'll kind of go over competitive analysis and how to market your brand while looking at and keeping track of trends for other brands that are like yours. Okay, so let's not get far too ahead. I always get so excited talking about these things because I think it's just so fascinating, and working in the industry as long as I have, I see all these different types of trends. It's not just fast fashion. It's not just luxury, but it's really just like a trend of your own lane. Like you're setting your own lane. And I think that's the perfect segue to talk about authenticity. But before we do that, I want to define digital marketing for you because I think if you scroll on YouTube, you'll find that there's like a misconception. Or maybe I shouldn't say misconception, but there's just like a facade over digital marketing. Right now, it's being plastered as if it's just one course, as if it's just branding on social media, or it's kind of just like bland. But digital marketing is the use of online channels. That's social media, that's paid advertisements. So if you ever hear Meta Suite, Meta owns Facebook, as we know it, and Instagram, right? And maybe TikTok, but you didn't hear that from me. So those paid ads are the things that I'm talking about. What are you putting budget behind in your paid advertisement? Okay. Now also talking about SEO. SEO is a form of paid search. Oftentimes that is used by Google, right? That's an entity of Google. Okay. We'll get more into that as well. So a lot of people like to look at paid channels versus free channels. Okay. Some free channels are email and SMS. Okay. And they're only considered free because the amount of budget that you have to spend on paid channels versus free channels are like oil and water, like yin and yang. It's considered to be a free channel because typically, if you look on a lot of these email sources like MailChimp or, what's another one? MailerLite even. Those are entities that you can use for free, right? You can start to build up your email list and you don't have to put a budget behind those entities. You can just start to kind of mail merge or even just batch email your customers and put them on these journeys. We'll talk about customer journeys as well, but it can be for free. But typically, if you are a intermediate level business, you are putting some budget behind those channels, but typically it's nothing compared to the budget that you put on paid channels. Okay, so that's the definition, and that's the difference between paid channels and free channels. Okay. Also, digital marketing, it just means to promote, to grow, and to sell your brand online. That's literally what it is. Okay. It's not just the brand identity. It's not just creating an ad. It's not just putting out a social media post, and that's digital marketing. There's so many layers to digital marketing. Honestly, it's like an onion, and it takes a while to decipher, but it also takes a while for your brand to kind of get used to those layers and those channels. And what your brand can do for each channel is completely different. Okay. So why is this important to fashion brands? And if you see me looking down, I'm kind of looking at my notes so I can make sure to stay on par. So why is this important for fashion brands? Fashion is a visual and fast-paced industry, right? And it changes all the time depending on trends. Kind of like I said in my first episode or in the first class, honestly, I think the wave of TikTok has inspired so many different industries, fashion being one of them, because oftentimes you see a lot of influencer marketing now, and that's really reigning over kind of paid advertisements for models, for example. Because if I have a model from a agency that I hired versus a influencer from TikTok, Instagram, or UGC, user generated content, if I have a UGC influencer over a model influencer from an agency, the budget looks completely different. And what I think TikTok did was open that market up for companies now to look for lower budget influencers. Now, don't mistake that, because influencers do make a ton of money. Those are not necessarily just dependent on your metrics, right? Or your followers. It really depends on the value that you offer. So if you and your brand are in the course of looking at influencers, make sure you look at those who really would emphasize your brand and its value in the most authentic way. Okay. And then unlike traditional marketing, digital marketing is super cost effective, scalable, and measurable. Traditional marketing, you can scale and you can measure, but the effect of digital marketing is almost seen as a variant that grows over time. In my experience working at corporate brands, in-house brands, I've always kind of told my team, like, yes, we just ignited our campaign on so-and-so platform. This is what we're expecting. And they're like, okay. Like the next day they're like, where's it at now? And I'm like, honestly, digital marketing is scalable, but it doesn't change overnight. And if it does, then that's a great success. But you want to really look at the return that you're getting from those advertisements. And that is the acronym called ROAS, ROAS, return on ad spend. Okay. And you want to look at that and say, what is the return or the return on the investment that I'm getting for igniting this advertisement? That's like level 3, y'all. But I do want you to start to think about some of these things as you start to progress in your marketing for your brand. Okay. Successful brands also don't just sell, they create an experience online. They really connect with their customers and they connect with the people that connect with them. So that's where authenticity comes from. Okay. Being as authentic as you possibly can be will take you further in this industry than mimicking another brand. I know it's super hard to look at these brands now, especially the ones that consider themselves luxury and they're just selling like a t-shirt and now it's $500 and you're like, it's just a t-shirt. I'm just confused. Especially if the fabric is just cotton and it's an iron-on. Okay, let's stop. I'm not knocking nobody's hustle, but I'm saying that everybody can't look the same. Okay. And you have to make sure that your identity is really, really, really effective. Being authentic is the key of digital marketing. Creating a strong identity that is hyper focused with who you are as an individual will make your brand progress. If you are not the type, like I said in the last episode, to address your customers as, hey girl, what's up? I want you to buy this product. Make sure you text me back, okay? Like, don't address your brand as that if that is not your brand persona, okay? There's nothing wrong with using trendy keywords. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's not your brand tone of voice and your brand persona, then your customer is going to get a bit confused, especially if your products don't mimic how you're speaking to your customers. Okay, I want you to think about that. What does that mean for you? So let's go back in our toolkit, in our workbook, and write down, what does my brand persona look like? And how does that affect my brand authenticity? Okay. One of the ways that I connected with my brand on authenticity is honestly just through the workforce. And I'm not saying all entrepreneurs have experience in the workforce. And by workforce, I mean like the corporate environment or even just the retail environment. But I knew how I spoke to customers in the store. I knew my value add when customers will come up to me and they want to have a shopping experience that I'm able to give them, me as an individual. And I first started to think of myself as a brand. Me, Tadeja, I'm a brand, right? Not just my brand, but who am I as a brand? And how do I serve my customer to make it the most authentic way of shopping, to make their shopping trip the most authentic? And how can I be of value to the brand that I'm working for? So for example, I was working for a affordable luxury leather good accessory company. I'm trying to give you all the adjectives without naming the brand. Okay. You guys can probably guess which brand it was, but I really positioned myself more as a brand ambassador before I started to sell. I wanted to get to know the audience. And at this specific company, this was an affordable luxury audience, but the audience was so loyal to the brand that they came in and they said, we've been buying here since XYZ year. I passed down my first handbag from this company to my great granddaughter, and she still carries it today because the fashion came back in style. And I really love this brand because the hardware is always so nice. The fabric is always so durable. Can you tell me about your products now and how they differ? Or can you tell me about what can create that same experience for my daughter as she comes in and she passes this handbag down to her daughter, and her daughter passes it down to her granddaughter? Okay. And then I had to kind of take myself and say, well, what do I know about the brand? What do I know that this brand establishes already? And that was authentic connections. Before thinking about marketing, you have to think about the authentic connection between yourself as a brand and your customers. Does that make sense? I'm going to pause for a second. It is most beneficial because authenticity really means clarity, okay? Knowing your mission, knowing your values, and knowing your voice. The voice, the tone of voice is super important. So I like to go back to the workbook and I want you to establish, if you haven't already, your mission, your vision, and your voice. What is your mission? What is your vision? And how are you speaking to your customers? As you know, in the last episode, I thought it was super important to read off my mission, vision, and kind of just my overall dedication to you all for Luxor Digital. And I thought it was important because it's not just myself as a brand. Like, there are others that really help with this brand, help establish what this brand is, my team, right? But one of the things that I wanted to do before even kind of like running with this and kind of building this business from the ground up, I wanted to really establish who we are, what we stand for. And as I told you all before, God is the center of my business. He's the center of everything that I do. So in efforts for that, I really wanted to dive deep within who I wanted to portray. And then also what mission will best align with that, where my customers can connect with me before they even buy a product. So with that, I ask that you go to your workbook, your toolkit, and you write down some of those things: the mission, the vision, the voice, what makes your brand authentic, and how does that help with your customers and who you're expecting as a customer, okay? And who you want to draw in. Because I said before, and I think it's important to reiterate, that your authenticity is going to shine through no matter if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing. I've interviewed for hundreds, okay? I'm not being funny when I say that. I've interviewed for hundreds of companies throughout my fashion industry tenure, and I have been able to see straight through who is over that company, okay? Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's iffy, I've been able to kind of gauge that. And as I grew to more senior, I said to myself, it's really important when I start my brand to really embody the most authentic version of myself, because I don't want anyone, not my customers, not my team, to come in and say, you gave me some idea, during the interview or during my first visit in the store or in an email. You gave me this idea of this is who you were, but when I experienced the brand, I really don't feel like that's the same brand. And that's the worst thing that you want, right? So again, with digital marketing, you want to look at your comments. Are people replying on your social media? And this is organic social media, so like Instagram. Are people replying and commenting? Are they giving you feedback? And if you're in the beginning stages, that feedback is super important because sometimes it's very hard to get. If they're giving you feedback, then maybe honestly, you should take your team, round up your team, if it's just a team of one, a team of two, and kind of think about what they're saying. These are the customers that you've drawn in from your actions thus far. So yes, you've established your target market, but if people are giving you feedback, they've purchased from your brand or they're interested in purchasing from your brand, you want to turn those cold leads into a converting customer. You want to harness their trust. You want to keep them engaged. So don't ignore them, right? If they're saying, oh my gosh, I love those, oh my gosh, I love those high-rise flannel pants that you just came out with. I really, really want those, but unfortunately, you all don't offer my size. I'm really looking for like a plus size or really, really extra small, and I'm not seeing that size available. Now, I do know, of course, when you range in sizes, that comes at a cost, but at least it's something that you can kind of address in your marketing, right? Like we see you, we know you want this. This is what we're doing to make an effort to have extended sizes in our next campaign. Okay. And therefore, you can look for influencers, or you can look for paid models from an agency that really embody diversity and inclusion in your company. Okay. We'll talk about diversity and inclusion, but not in this episode, because honestly, that will take over the whole episode. And I don't want to go off on a tangent. But yes, diversity and inclusion. Think about sizability. Think about what your customers are saying. Oftentimes, when I first started marketing roles, companies will be like, "So should I survey?" And I'm like, "Survey?" There's a way to survey an audience, but it's not through the generic, like sending them questions like, "Do you like this?" or "Do you like this?" No, there's ways to do it. One way, for example, just while I'm thinking about it, is a lead generation on Meta. Some of you all are like, what is that? We'll go through that. But you can survey clients and you can survey customers through a lead gen. Who are the customers that you're bringing in, and do they like the product? That was like a star note, a keynote. But I want you to start to think of some of the brands that embody kind of a linear experience to what your brand embodies, and think about the storytelling that they're doing within their brand. Are they using bold visuals? Are they using a tone of voice that's super attractive and approachable? Are they using diversity and inclusion that's having them kind of be looked at as like the it brand, or whatever it be? Just start to look at some other companies that are linear towards yours, and I want you to start writing down some of the ways that you like that they're approaching their storytelling, in some ways that you think are opportunities, not for the brand, but for you to kind of keep in mind. Okay. Next, what I want to talk about is how branding and digital marketing work. So this is just the entry to kind of digital marketing. Oftentimes, when you look on social media, you'll see that people are really just talking about branding and not necessarily like digital marketing, like really getting into the weeds, the analytics, the data, this storytelling through numbers. It's all needed. But one of the things I want to say is the imperative channels for a beginner company. You're probably on Instagram already. You probably are on TikTok. You may be on Pinterest. I don't know. But I really want to dig in the weeds of email. Like I told you guys before, I started off my career in email marketing, and I learned a lot from kind of how I had to understand branding and understand what these brands needed in their emails and efforts for their customers to kind of continue to retain or to acquire new customers. So with email marketing, it's really important to keep communication personal. Personalization is a key word in marketing. What does personalization look like? I'm here to tell you. Personalization in an email will look like a few things, okay? In the fashion industry, me as a customer, I want to know that I'm being heard, okay? Maybe I purchased from your brand one time, or maybe I'm just browsing on your site and I have not converted yet. Or maybe I've purchased like 3 times, but I've only purchased during the sale period. Or I've purchased during the full price period, but I've only purchased a low volume of items, right, of clothes. So my lifetime value is super low compared to other people or other customers. I still want to know, and all of those different customers are different segments of customers. Okay, so keep that in mind. But I still want to know that you're listening to what I want. You're understanding who I am as a customer, and you're also understanding what I purchase from you. So, for an example, for email marketing specifically, understanding that you're listening to your customers may look like product recommendations in an email. So for that, you will have to segment your audience, and you can do this in platform data. And one of the things that you can do is you can segment your audience by their purchase value. Okay. You say, who are these people who are buying X amount of dollars, or who are these people that are buying during this time of the year, whether it's spring, summer, whether it's fall, winter, whatever the case, or even if it's an annual sale that you're doing, or you're doing a sale 4 times a year. You want to segment by those dates, and you want to look at the customers who pop up. Okay. You can further segment, but we'll go through that in another episode. But for email, what you want to do is you want to look at what those customers are buying. You can recommend like products based off of their customer behavior. So if you know that a customer buys accessories from your brand, and you're a clothing brand that also sells accessories, like Zara, for example, they are a fast fashion brand that sells men's, women's, kids, accessories. I mean, the list goes on, right? But if I was working for that company, I would want to segment based off of that customer that I'm looking for, that ideal customer that I'm looking for, and see what they're purchasing. That helps to formulate grids off of product recommendations. Those grids will then, once you segment your customer, those grids will then populate in your email, whatever form you want to do. If you want to do 2x2, if you want to do a 2 row with 3 images, whatever the case may be. And what it'll do is help you figure out what that customer is buying. Okay. And it'll help you to recommend what they will buy next based off of their behavior. That is personalization. That is what Luxora Digital will help you figure out. Okay. I know all of that is a lot, and it's probably like, girl, I am not at that step yet. But you just want to start to think about some of those things, because oftentimes, especially when you do a consultation with us, we want to know kind of what stage are you at with personalization. Okay. Some people are just at the stage where they say, hey, in their emails, they'll say, hey, customer name, we see that you were browsing our site and you were looking at XYZ. We want to offer you a 10% coupon, something like that, which that's personalization. But there's a deeper level that personalization really helps with email marketing. Okay. Although email marketing is known as a traditional marketing channel, oftentimes you think of digital marketing, you think of email marketing. Although it's a traditional channel, it's valuable. It's valuable. And the share of business in email is super imperative. Share of business. That's another marketing acronym. Okay, I'm about to quiz y'all. What is ROAS? I said in the beginning of the class, what is ROAS? What does it stand for and what does it mean? Put it down in the description. Okay, so another acronym is SOB. Share of business. Share of business. That means how much a certain amount of revenue is attributed to that channel. Okay, so if I'm looking at email and I'm saying I get the highest volume of revenue from my email customers, from the people that have enrolled. Okay, make sure you're marketing. This is just a side note. Make sure that you're super compliant with your boxes that are popping up, those pop-ups when people go to your site and you sign in with, or you sign up for marketing communications with your name, your email, your phone number, XYZ. Make sure it's compliant, because if it's not, you can be sued. Okay. And like I told y'all, I worked for a financial banking institution and they did not play with that. Okay. So if you want to know about compliance more, book a call with us. Just email welcome@luxoradigital.online. We can talk about it in your consultation. So one of the things that I think is super important is share of business. And oftentimes, like I said, email is super traditional in marketing channels. So a lot of people rely on, or a lot of companies rely on email as their first entryway, as their kind of I shouldn't say breaking point, but like as their entry point through digital marketing. Email is super important. So if you're just starting out, really, really take a chance to look at some ESPs. Another acronym. Us marketers, we use a lot of acronyms and I didn't even realize. Go and look for ESP, an email service provider, and see which one best fits your business based off of your budget and also based off of kind of where you are at in your brand. Are you an entry-level brand? Are you a intermediate brand? Are you an advanced brand? And see kind of what adds up. Next, I want to talk a little bit about SMS as well. The thing about email and SMS is they're super aligned. I am really experienced in email and SMS as an alignment channel as opposed to them being separate channels. SMS became very hot off the press for fashion brands in recent years. A lot of companies did not lean to SMS because they thought it was invasion of privacy. And I want to just break that down a little bit. Write in the comments, give me a thumbs up if you like SMS marketing and you're enrolled in some company, your favorite company, SMS marketing, you look for whatever they're gonna, say. I am a fan of SMS marketing. So thumbs up if you are, thumbs down if you are not, and you feel like it's an invasion of privacy and I don't necessarily want to be getting all these pings at the middle of the night saying we have our, annual sale starts in 24 hours or whatever the case may be. And I say that because a lot of brands, especially on the luxury sector, they always say like, I don't really know how to use SMS marketing. My peers are saying that it's essential. They've looked to me and asked, is it imperative to have SMS marketing, especially for a luxury audience? I'm not only speaking to luxury fashion brands. Okay. I'm working with all of you all. I love all of you guys. But specifically for this, it's been a question because fast fashion brands like H&M, for example, or Forever 21, they use SMS marketing. And honestly, even like Fashion Nova, if y'all are signed up for the SMS marketing for Fashion Nova, oh my goodness, they literally text so much. And I've even looked like, okay, I think I'm going to opt out because this is too much. But then I also look and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything's 50% off. Like, let me go now. Anyway, that's just a segue. It's a part of their marketing strategy. So I'm not hating on them, but I'm just saying and sometimes people can look at it like that, especially luxury brands. They're like, how valuable is SMS marketing to my brand? And furthermore, how do I speak to my customers? Because in email, you have different CTAs. CTA, another acronym, call to action. And that is a button that people will press in their email. Okay. So in emails, that'll be on the quiz later. So y'all write that down. But in their emails, they'll be like, there's a lot of CTAs. People can click. There's a heat map. I can see where people are clicking. But on SMS, there's one URL. And there's a body of text. Typically, it's around 160 characters. And that is it. You can include an image. You can include a GIF. You can include a video. But it's just one multimedia send that you can have. And typically, they're more expensive than an SMS send. Okay? SMS, MMS. SMS, MMS. Some companies are just like, I don't even know what the value of that is. We'll go through that even more on a later class. But what I want to say is SMS is vital for communication, especially if you are trying to acquire new customers. Because honestly, I'm a millennial, so I can speak to kind of the younger and the older. Do y'all call us old? The older, I don't like that. The intermediate people. People who are like not necessarily super young, but like not old either. Okay. We are in the middle. So I was around, I don't want to age myself too much, but I was around when like you have to pay to send a message and companies were not using SMS marketing like at that time at all. This has happened in recent years where marketing has become a multimedia send. And yeah, it's just funny how times have changed. But if you are a company that thinks that you will benefit from SMS marketing, I think I want you to explore that a little bit. Okay, so in your workbook, write down how you might start to use SMS marketing. Okay, Don't worry about the tone of voice. Don't worry about like the character limit. Don't worry about what you're going to say, all of that. Just think about like how you can start to use those things. And what would you say to your customers? What would you say to your customers? Like, I don't want to give you any, I don't want to like cheat you, I don't want to have you cheat because, I know kind of that form of marketing, communicating with customers, but I just want to know like how you would use SMS marketing. Also put it in the description, put it in the box below as well in the comments to tell me some of those ways that you think you would use SMS marketing. And on a separate lesson, we'll go through how you can speak to your customers through SMS. Okay. All right, you guys, I just want to take like a big breath, right? Like one more. Okay. Take it in. I have been told by peers, by coworkers, by businesses that hired me as a specialist, as a digital marketing specialist. I've been told like, girl, you coming at us with a whole lot of stuff. I'm gonna need you to like reel that back because I don't even know what that means. I don't know how that can be used. I don't know none of that. Okay. So I'm here to just tell you it's totally okay. Okay. This is just the first lesson. This is not the only lesson. I know it's super overwhelming to kind of think outside of your brand. And now you have to think about your marketing. It's like, oh my gosh, I already had to think about like the vendors that I'm using. I've already have to think about what to post on social media organically. I already have to think about this. Now you want me to think about SMS? Like, this is crazy. So I do want to say that I totally get it. Okay. But some of the things that's super important about working with an expert like Luxor Digital is that we will help walk you through those steps. Okay. I'm not saying that you are not an expert on your own right. I'm not saying you can't do it by yourself. I'm not saying you can't even go somewhere else. What I am saying is, one, do your research. If you're going to work with a marketing consultancy or a platform of some sort or an agency of some sort, do your research on them, on their expertise. Okay. Are they more on the PR side of marketing? Are they more of the branding side of marketing? Are they more on the legal side of marketing? Or are they more on the digital side? And what are you looking for your brand? If you find that, hey, I love what you have to offer at Luxor Digital, but I don't think I'm at that stage yet, that's totally fine. You can be at a whole different stage. But what you should be able to do is grasp value from these lesson plans, grasp value from kind of what we're offering you as even just a thought starter. And even if you have some questions and you say like, hey, I don't know if I'm at this point that I would need your services, or I'm at this point to even take the F3 course, which I'll talk about in a second. But I want to speak with you guys more about what you have to offer. And I want to tell you kind of where I'm at in my brand strategy and in my brand landscape. And maybe we can start to talk about some of these things. Then let's have a conversation. I always encourage you as a client, businesses that I've worked with, to do their research, right? Because if you're hiring me and my team to come in and help you pivot your way through digital marketing, I want to be super clear. I want to be very accurate, and I want to be super aligned with what you're expecting to see and also with what you're open to experiencing. Okay. With digital marketing, it's not just that you're expecting to see this outcome and it's just going to happen like that overnight. That's not how it works. It takes some time. It also takes testing. Okay. A/B testing, version A, version B. That is a hot thing in marketing because not everything works all the time. And also, one thing that works for you in your brand may be different for somebody else in their brand. Okay. So one, do your research. Two, stick around. This is good, free, vital information for you to even have a thought starter for your brand. Okay. Also, three, book a consultation with us. Okay. If you're interested in a consultation, they're under resources. So you go ahead to luxordigital.online, pivot over to resources. Under resources, you can click book consultation. Okay. It'll take you to an form, fill out the form, and it'll send us over some information that you've put into the form. We might reach out for additional information. And then you can book a call with us, okay? And it's just going to be a one-on-one call. And we'll kind of ask you some of those things, okay? But what I do want to make a point to say is, yes, Foundations of Fashion Digital Marketing, this Hillman Talk course, Hillman YouTube Talk course is super vital, and it goes over the foundations of fashion. But I do want to say F3 is coming out. What is F3? What is F3? I see it all over your site. What is this? F3 is Fashion Foundations Formula. Get it? F3. So you're wondering about F3. F3 was created by us at Luxora Digital. It is near and dear to our hearts, and it's coming out very, very soon. But F3 is the first ever fashion digital marketing course tailored to your niche, okay? Digital marketing course tailored to your niche. It is a comprehensive blueprint designed to help you build, scale, and sustain in this fashion industry. Okay. It's ever changing. It's ever evolving. It's dependent on trends. It's dependent on, algorithms. It is a blueprint to help you scale through those times. I'm just reading off as well. And if you want to look at our sales page is actually up. If you go to luxoradigital.online, you can go over to courses. F3 will be there, and you can go to learn more, where you can look at our sales page and really find out a lot about F3. But I want to be specific with what I'm telling you. So this course is going to be an expert-driven course to provide you strategies tailored exclusively to the fashion industry. It's going to give you the tools to succeed without wasting your time on outdated, generic methods. You can really skip the traditional marketing route and fast track your success with F3. This is going to be an ultimate guide to fashion digital marketing mastery. So all these things that I'm telling you just in this foundations course, right? This is the beginning course. It's going to really break down in F3. Okay. I only have you all for a semester, but F3, you'll have lifetime access. You will have lifetime access. And what that means is when we build upon the modules, you will also have that access. Okay. So don't think that you have to rush through anything. Don't think that, oh my gosh, like I have to pay this and I'm only going to have it for a limited time. No, you'll have lifetime access to scale. Okay. This is the blueprint provided by fashion marketing experts in actually the New York City region. And this is not region specific, but one of the most thriving fashion industries is here in New York City. And our experts have worked tirelessly, okay, with joy, to help build this course and to make it so fundamental for your scalability. I'm going to have a separate episode all on F3, but what I do want to tell you too is what you can kind of expect in the modules. There are 6 modules. The first one is Blueprint to Fashion Marketing Success. The next one is Captivating Storytelling and Visual Identity Mastery. The third module is Digital Marketing Powerhouse for Fashion Brands. The fourth is Mastering Market Research and Understanding Your Audience. And the fifth, Scaling Strategies, Growth, Optimization, and Retention. And the final one is Future-Proofing Your Brands with Sustainability and Trends, okay? And each module, there are separate chapters. And like I said, you can go and look at our page all on F3 and really figure out, what we're offering here. But I only say that because it can be very exhausting. I know as a brand to open up this portal. And I only say that like in a funny way. Open up this portal of digital marketing because it's like, oh my gosh, what have I opened up? This is so much for me. And my brand is thriving already off of, our retention-based audience. We have a loyal audience and that's all we need. Then that's totally fine. That is completely fine. But when you want to open up digital marketing, Luxora Digital is here to help you open up digital marketing, but do it with scalability and also do it at an expert level that can future-proof your brand. Okay? We have come to a close on this episode on YouTube or on this class. But before we leave, I've given you a lot of homework. I've given you some things to start to think about. But before we leave, I want to give you this takeaway in this next step. I want you to start thinking very strategically on digital marketing and know that digital marketing is how you scale an authentic brand in the fashion industry. It is one of the most pivotal channels that will help your brand evolve, stand out. It will help future-proof your brand. Your brand can run purely off of e-commerce and digital marketing alone. It wasn't always like that. Even like prior to COVID, a lot of brands switched from their like brick and mortar locations to just like e-commerce. And they were like, listen, like nobody's coming in our stores anymore. So maybe we should just rely on e-commerce dollars because honestly, that's where we're receiving most of our revenue now. A lot of people were scared to go into stores. They didn't want to be around a lot of people. They started to shop online. Plus, you don't have somebody like staring at you get 3 different sizes like me in a store because you don't know your size, or you don't have somebody like, oh my gosh, like when you go in the dressing room and you're trying on things and you tugging and you sweating and all of this stuff. I'm telling you, it's a whole experience. You can just shop online. You can try on things in the comfort of your home and you don't have to worry about the shopping experience. So think about that for your brand. I'm not saying that you do not need a brick and mortar. That's a huge accomplishment. I'm not saying you don't need that. It can really help to grow your brand as well. But what I'm saying is think about the importance of e-commerce and aligning with e-commerce. Think about the importance of digital marketing for your brand. Okay? I want you to define your brand identity before diving into those strategies that we talked about. So how is your brand authentic? What's the tone of voice? How are you going to speak to your customers? And what does that mean? Okay. So now that you have the power of branding and digital marketing, and even thoughts of brand identity and channels, I want you to start to think about some strategies that you can start to implement even next week that will help to kind of entry your digital marketing efforts. Don't think about budget. Don't think about any of that. Just think about some of those things that we went over in today's class, some of those strategies in which you can start to think about your digital marketing efforts. Okay? All right, guys. I told you we hot off the press, honey. I'm not playing with y'all. I am literally trying to get this message out because when I learned all of these things, the light bulb just went off. And I was like, wow, I had no idea. So I hope you all learned a bunch today. And I hope you have some thoughts, and I would love to see your comments below. Tell me some of the things that you learned from today's class. Tell me some of the things that you would like to learn in our next class and what you're excited about. What are you excited to learn about in this course? Like, tell me some of the things that like you have questions on and you're excited to learn about. I would love to know all those things. All right. That's it for today. Wrap it up. Close your binders, close your books, close your book bags. The bell is ringing. Okay, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. With Glam and Love, it's Luxora Digital.